So, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Advances in Dementia Research webinar series that is presented by the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto in partnership with the Toronto Dementia Research Alliance. This series discusses recent updates in dementia research and highlights dementia research studies that are occurring across Toronto. Today, we are very honored to have with us Dr. Mary Chu, who will be speaking on the role of virtual reality in supporting dementia care. A little bit of housekeeping. I have placed everyone on mute just to make sure that the sound carries through. If you do have questions as you are hearing the webinar, please do enter them into the chat, and we will get to as many as we can after the webinar. As I mentioned, this webinar is being recorded, so if you do have to step away, you can feel free to visit both the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto's YouTube channel or the TDRA website to view it. You will also be able to access all of our past webinars as well, just if you are interested. A little bit about the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto for those who are unfamiliar. The Alzheimer's Society of Toronto is one of 20 plus local chapters who are mandated to provide education, counseling, programming, and support to people living with dementia, their care partners, whether it be family members or friends, healthcare professionals, as well as the general public. We service within the M postal code, and we service all dementias. So it could be MCI, it could be Alzheimer's disease, it could be Lewy body. A diagnosis or referral is not required to access our programs and services. Currently, our services are offered in person as well as virtually through Zoom and the ALS Educate e-learning platform. To learn more about our upcoming sessions, please do visit our website at www.alz.to. Take a look at our calendar of events. I'd also like to tell you a little bit about our partner, the TDRA. Established in 2012, the TDRA is a collaboration among the University of Toronto, Baycrest, the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, Ontario Shore Centre for Mental Health Services, Sunnybrook, Unity Health Toronto, and the University Health Network. Together with its partners, the TDRA aims to strengthen the link between basic science and clinical research to better understand, prevent, and treat dementia. So I'd like to hand it off to my partner at TDRA, Ruth, to walk you through the next few slides.
Thanks so much, Julie. So if we can flip, that's great. Thank you. AST and TDRA partnered on an initiative to make research more accessible to everyone. The Toronto Dementia Network, or TDN, is a website that lists dementia-related programs and services across Toronto. On this website, we created a section called Research Studies, which lists dementia studies that are open for participation across the city. Each study is listed is led by a TDRA-affiliated scientist or scientists and has been approved by a research ethics board. The studies for people living with Alzheimer's disease and other types of dementia, mild cognitive impairment, those at risk for developing dementia, healthy volunteers, and caregivers. These studies are all summarized in plain language. To get started, the website link is shown here in orange, and information about the TDN can also be found on the AST and TDRA websites. Next slide, please. So as you can see on the website, there's two main pathways. First, you can browse for a study using search terms, filters, and quick searches. When you find a study that you're interested in, you can fill out the contact form to be connected with the research team who will enroll you in the study if you're eligible. On the bottom here, if you're not sure where to start, you can fill out a questionnaire to be matched to a study. Any information you enter will be securely stored and protected. Next slide. This is what the website looks like. When on the page, if you're looking for something specific, for example, Alzheimer's disease studies, you can type it in the search bar along the top. You can hit submit with that term and apply more filters like type of study, age group, target population, or the study location, and then hit submit. Alternatively, you can use the quick search button we have in the blue boxes. If you'd rather fill out a questionnaire to be matched to a study, then you click the Match Me to a Study quick search box, or scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see this orange button that says can't find a study that you're interested in, which you're interested in, which will also take you to the questionnaire. Each study summary, as shown with the VR Sims Cares study card shown on the left, describes what the study is about, who can participate, the location, and the time requirements, all in plain language. The VR Sim Cares study that we're discussing today is listed on the Toronto Dementia Network website, so you'll be able to read more and connect to the study team there. And now I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, but before I do, just remember to keep any questions till the end of the webinar for our question and answer period. And also feel free to type them in the chat throughout so we'll keep track and we'll go back to them at the end. Dr. Mary Chu. So Mary Chu holds a PhD from the University of Toronto. She's a research scientist at Ontario Shore Centre for Mental Health, an adjunct professor at Ontario Tech University, and an assistant professor at the University of Toronto. Dr. Chu's research interests focus on the psychology of older adults with respect to social interactions and the concept of psychological resilience in the context of informal caregiving and dementia. Dr. Chu's primary research aim is to identify factors that promote resilience and effective coping with this population. In addition, her work aims to identify components of group psychotherapy programs that make them effective in addressing complex needs and challenges of informal caregivers caring for someone living with dementia. And with no further ado, we want to give a very warm welcome to Dr. Mary Chu.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for that introduction and good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to share my slides. Just bear with me. Can everybody see that clearly? There may be a little bit of a black box on the top. I'm trying to hide it. I think if I need to do that, doesn't help. It's the black box still on there is a bar on the top, right?
There is.
About how to hide it. Is that better?
That's better. It's a much smaller box now.
Okay. All right.
Are you sharing the
there it is.
screen
It's
or
gone.
oh, perfect.
Gone.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Got a little bit of a lag there. So as Ruth was saying, I'm going to be speaking to you about a research project that I am leading that is focused on virtual reality simulation training for dementia caregivers. That's quite a mouthful, but first of all, let's just look into the reasons why we would need to build such a program, and also the program's targeted users, who would be the dementia caregivers or care partners. So for the purpose of today's webinar, here is a working definition that really captures the complexity of the role of unpaid family caregivers or care partners. So here, they are individuals who provide extraordinary, uncompensated, or unpaid care on a long-term basis, predominantly in the home or community setting, and involving significant amount of time and energy, requiring the performance of tasks that may be physically, emotionally, socially, or financially demanding. The World Health Organization, the WHO, published a report in 2017 called Integrated Care for Older People. And the report noted that 349 million people worldwide are estimated to be care dependent. So these are care recipients, and of whom more than around a 1/3 and more than 100 million people are older adults who are 60 years of age and over. The report also noted that in most countries, care for older adults is provided by unpaid caregivers or care partners, and the majority of them are women. In many low and middle income countries, formal systems of long-term care are very poorly developed, which compounded the need for unpaid caregiving. And the report wrapped up by recommending that psychological or psychosocial interventions, training, and support would need to be offered to family members and other unpaid caregivers to relieve the significant caregiver strain that's imposed on them. Closer to home, in a spotlight report from Ontario Caregiver Organization that was released in 2021, similar findings were presented. The report actually acknowledged the family and unpaid caregivers. They play a very essential role in care and also in aging in place. Specifically in this report, caregivers requested a few things, and two of them being, please include them as partners on the care team because they carry a wealth of information to inform care of the care recipient. And number two, please connect them to training opportunities, workshops, and resources to support their own well-being and resilience building. I attended the Canadian Caregiving Summit last November. And in a breakout session, the former deputy leader of the Conservatives Party, Honorable Lisa Raitt, shared the pain behind her husband, Bruce's diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's. She shared about the shock she was in when the diagnosis was made, and how, looking back retrospectively, she did not have any knowledge of what the condition was about and what she would encounter and what it means for Bruce and herself. And she also realized that she wasn't very informed about the resources that she has. And she also shared briefly about the financial arrangement that she had to make, the personality changes that Bruce went through, which made her worry about the safety for her sons, herself, and Bruce. All of what Lisa shared were related to caregiver stress. And other factors are listed here that are linked to caregiver stress, which may include being older, sharing a living space with a person living with dementia, having inflexible workplaces, lower income, greater dependency of the care recipient, and a lower level of perceived support. Lisa Raitt also shared her experience on W5 in 2022, and the link to this video clip is on the slide for your reference. Caregivers are often not equipped with the necessary skills to provide safe and effective care to the person living with dementia at home. This lack of necessary knowledge and skills is associated with stress in caregivers and negative care outcome for the person living with dementia. Specifically, caregivers may lack knowledge and skills to manage the behavioral and safety issues and basic activities of daily living, such as bathing and changing and dressing. And also they may not have the skills to manage their own emotions. Caregivers also may not have the skills to communicate effectively with a person living with dementia, maybe negotiating with other family members and care professionals when they discuss care plans and caregiving duties. Here are some commonly encountered challenges that are observed clinically related to dementia caregiving. So the person living with dementia may refuse care. There may be denial of actually having dementia. Managing, the caregiver may experience difficulty managing work demands and managing expressive behaviors related to dementia. And oftentimes, the relationship with other family members are very tense, and there may be conflicts. So how to navigate around these is some of the challenges that our caregivers are seeing. So psychosocial interventions and psychosocial interventions aiming at improving the mental health and also the subjective well-being of caregivers have been found to be effective to improving caregivers' mental health and stress. And some positive outcomes seen in research studies include lowering of caregiver distress, depressive symptoms, and subjective burden. There is also evidence that interventions of longer duration that are tailored to the specific needs of caregivers and providing direct contact with peers and other professionals can be beneficial. Interventions with multiple components combining a variety of strategies are more likely to be successful as well. It was also found that internet-based virtual interventions can be beneficial for caregivers who are in remote locations. One psychosocial or psychoeducational program that I would like to bring to your attention today is the CARES program. Established in 2008, the CARES program is a group psychotherapeutic skills training intervention that has demonstrated efficacy in improving caregivers' outcomes in stress, burden, and competence in the management of care-related issues. So CARES actually stand for coaching, advocacy, respite, education, relationship, simulation, and the 8-week intervention is delivered in small close group of 4 to 6 caregivers at a time. And these may be facilitated by a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist or a trained mental health clinician. The sessions are based on the core principles of group psychotherapy with 3 main components. So there is tailored dementia education, there is problem-solving therapy, and the use of life simulation for caregivers to practice different approaches in communications and emotional regulation. So a key component of the CARES program, as I was saying, is the life simulation experiential learning that is facilitated by someone known as a simulated or standardized patient. These are highly skilled and trained professionals involved in simulation, which is, by definition, a reproduction or an enactment of a scenario or interaction. And this is done for educational and therapeutic purposes. At the CARES program, simulated patients are employed to reenact some very difficult scenarios that happen at home with the caregivers and the care recipient. And coached by the clinician, the caregiver can have a safe environment to practice the different approaches to resolve the tension in the personal scenario. This element is very key to improving competence and confidence in the dementia caregiver. And I'm just going to show you a very short clip of what simulation looks like. And let me just find my...
The Reitman Center Cares and Working Carers programs are evidence-based therapeutic group interventions for family caregivers of people with dementia.
We've got to get to the dentist. It's rush hour. We've got to go all the way across town. Come on, you've got to get dressed
Stop!
now.
Stop it! Time out. Benjamin, maybe you can sit down. How was that for you?
That's exactly what it's like at home.
The groups are led by trained mental health clinicians. In these groups, caregivers are therapeutically guided toward effective caregiving, problem-solving, and communication skills.
Sometimes if you can speak with fewer words and use a more gentle tone, that can help the situation a lot. Would you like to try it again?
Sure, I'll try. It's just hard to have to change the way we talk to each other.
Yeah, well, you've been together a long time, and it's hard to make changes in communication.
Yeah, but I want to make things easier for us.
Yeah, we all.
So as you can see in the clip, there is like an interaction between the caregiver, participant, and also the clinician and the standardized patient. And the standardized patient would act as the person living with dementia, and then the caregiver would be able to approach this standardized patient with different communication skills and practice the different approaches that would be effective in communicating with the person with dementia. So I am including in the slide deck some of the, let me just start it again. So I'm including some of the simulation scenarios that are actually available on YouTube for your reference in the slide deck here, and you can. I think the slide deck will be shared with everybody. So as you can see, the simulation-based experiential learning allows individuals to learn and practice skills in a very realistic but simulated and safe environment. So simulation-based learning can be used across different disciplines and topics for multiple purposes, including, and the benefit is that it will generate awareness of some of the hard to surface issues and allow the participants to improve skills by providing practice in a context perhaps repetitively. Simulation-based learning also has been routinely used for different settings. So, for example, emergency preparedness, complex decision-making, negotiation and conflict resolution, and also some of the technical training. So like in aviation, when you're trying to become a pilot, you have aviation simulation training. So we have pretty much established that simulation-based learning is an effective approach for dementia caregivers to acquire the knowledge and practice the skills that are essential to being confident in their role. So is there an opportunity to transpose this learning mode onto virtual reality? To answer that question, I just wanted to give you a brief intro first into what really is immersive technology and what is virtual reality. Immersive technology is basically technology that creates a sense of presence or immersion in a virtual environment, and it may include virtual, augmented, or mixed reality. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I'm going to attempt that. So this graphic here underscores the point by illustrating the differences between virtual, augmented, and reality. So in virtual reality, users usually put on a virtual reality headset that would shut out the real world and completely immerse the user in a virtual environment. And augmented reality, however, the digital content will be overlaid on top of a real life environment, and therefore the term augmented reality. An example of augmented reality, I'm not sure if you would be familiar with the game Pokemon Go. You sometimes see people carrying their phone and trying to catch these Pokemon monster on the street. So that's that would be augmented reality. In mixed reality, the digital content actually interact with the real world. An example would be Mario Kart. I have put like a links of some of these games in the slide deck, so like you can kind of take a look into what they look like. The virtual reality has been used in skills training in dementia care, and especially in for care professionals and caregivers. So this, virtual reality would actually allow individuals to see the world from the perspectives through the eyes of someone living with dementia. An example would be Embodied Lab, which is a program where caregiver and professionals would experience the challenge or the challenges that a person living with dementia have through a virtual reality headset. And the objective is to build understanding and empathy. There is also immersive virtual reality reminiscence programs that has been developed for usually used by a person living with dementia, where they may be guided to look through, personal photo albums that may trigger some past memories. And these programs have been shown to improve the mood and to preserve cognitive functioning in persons living with dementia during the period of the intervention. Virtual reality can also transport individuals with dementia to different places and events, such as concert, the beach, or interacting with pets. And these intervention is usually used to keep the mind and the bodies engaged. I am going to show another clip quickly. Sorry, not very good at toggling between getting better. Here we go. And this is, in the clip, you will see an individual trying, living with dementia, trying on the headset. And you will see the impact of the virtual reality very clearly.
All right, you're safe.
Oh my God!
All right.
Oh my God!
Shush, shush, shush.
Oh!
Goodness me.
Oh!
All right, you can go
Open
to
your eyes
the shrine
now.
for a minute and we'll do you after,
Graham,
Yeah.
open your eyes, Graham.
Oh, look at it!
See
Yeah.
the beautiful city.
Lean your head forward.
Oh!
You see where you are?
Yes, I can!
Where are you?
I'm at the sea!
That's it.
Oh!
Move your head around, Mary.
Oh!
You see?
Oh my. Oh my. Oh dear.
Look up.
Oh, I do like to be beside the sea. I
don't know.
do like to be along the whole gold bowl and the whole gold bowl, gold. And the sea.
So you can see, like the effect of the virtual reality for, like someone experiencing being transported into, like a virtual reality environment, and the impact on the mood of the individuals. So I thought that was pretty neat. Well, so we have seen. Sorry, I am not sharing full screen. Here we go. So we have seen a lot of development in terms of, virtual reality for use by a person living with dementia. But there hasn't been many programs or interventions that are developed to empower family and unpaid caregivers. But virtual reality has the potential to be a transformative tool to do just that through immersive experiences that may enhance empathy and training, and improving the caregivers, their skills, and reducing the stress. Some of the benefits of using virtual reality is that participants may really practice and make mistakes and learn within a safe and guided environment. And this learning is also self-paced. And this is what we're hoping to do through a research and development project called the VR Sim Cares Initiative. This project is funded by the National Research Council Canada, and we aim to engage caregivers and aging adults and community partners in the co-designing and development and testing of an innovative platform for dementia caregivers to safely immerse in the virtual reality environment, so that they can practice the different communication skills that are instrumental in the caregiving role. So it can be communication skills, it can be navigating relational issues, it can be managing expressive behaviors that are being seen in individuals living with dementia, and maybe communicating with care professionals as well. This illustrates our project timeline up to 2025. So we started late 2022, and we're this year, right now, we are just at the midpoint of a 3-year project. And there is a very heavy emphasis on the co-designing and integrated knowledge mobilization. And that means we interact with different stakeholders, including caregivers, to really look into how to work and co-design all the way. So anything from clinical content, the writing of the scripts that are adopted into the scenarios, the technology development. Is it better to have the voice activation, or like the text or the visual activation, things like that, right? So everything is being consulted. We consult our caregiver and other knowledge users and stakeholders all the way. And the project will see, as you see in this timeline here, knowledge summit, 2 knowledge summits, where all the participants from the different stages of the project will all come together to witness and test out the launch of our prototype. So since the beginning of this project, which I said started in late 2022, we have engaged with over maybe 50 caregivers through different activities, including consultation session, virtual reality demonstration roadshows. We have a couple of surveys that went out to ask people, what are some of the scenarios that you would like to see in our training platform? And just wanted to focus maybe on the virtual reality demonstration roadshows for the last part of this webinar. So in designing the virtual reality applications for the caregiver, it is really recommended that the caregivers would be involved in the design process using the participatory action approaches. So like people are actually, giving feedback throughout the different stages of development. And this is very important because their voice would be integrated into the design from the very outset. So early on in the project, a recommendation through this kind of consultation, a recommendation that that was given to us by our caregivers is that they don't really have experience with the virtual reality technology. So to allow caregivers to experience virtual reality and to generate, overall buy-in into our program, we implemented roadshows, these demonstration roadshows. So hopefully by understanding, what is the function, what is the capacity, capabilities, and, the use of virtual reality, caregivers may actually meaningfully contribute to our co-design process. And the methodology of these roadshows is we usually have, like small groups of 3 to 5 caregivers in a room. They learn how to, wear a headset, and then they use the controllers and navigate the VR space. And sometimes, our some of our scenarios that we have developed, and we use a protocol called Thinking Out Aloud to implement to capture the user experience real time. So some of the preliminary findings that we have, 86% of our caregiver, they're actually a first-time user of virtual reality, and all of them immersed into the virtual environment for about 5 minutes with no adverse events. So like no dizziness, no nausea, and they all, the one most commonly uttered comment when they first immerse into the virtual reality environment is that, wow, this is really cool. So that's actually one of our quotes in our manuscript. Our next roadshow is going to be at Baycrest on April the 2nd, which is the National Caregiver Day. So if any of you here would be available and interested in joining us, you can email us, and we can give you more details on that. So for I just wanted to kind of wrap up by showing you the, sorry, there you go. This clip here, which is the environment that our computer science students have developed for us. So there is no sound in this clip. And so this is this kind of tech demos have been created by our PhD student and also postdoc fellow from Ontario Tech University, and they are being leveraged to serve as a basis for our roadshows and in the future some of the Knowledge Summit. And the goal is to have the caregiver test the virtual reality in order to gain experience with the technology. A lot of our caregivers who are seeing this for the first time, they have given us comment in terms of what they would like to see in the future. So as you can see just downstairs, the mother is represented by a robotic looking avatar. So there is a lot of work being done right now to do the 3D modeling of this avatar and making sure that they are realistically looking and be able to show fluid facial expression when we are interacting with them. So there is also the request from our caregivers. Sometimes, when we are traveling from one spot to another, it may actually be very disorienting for the user, and dizziness may happen. And so there is a request from our caregivers, is it okay to kind of have us being teleported from one spot to another? So with a, like with a press of a button, we can be, easily going from one room to another within the environment. And also, there is going to be, some of the improvements that we are going to have is there is going to be narration, so people can actually hear it and read it, the text in the environment when everything is said and done. So just to wrap up, I would like to just wait a second. Let me just share screen one more time. Just, am I sharing screen? I'm not sharing screen. Here. Okay. These are just some pictures from our roadshows. And we went to Alzheimer's Society in Montreal. We were at Ontario Tech. We were partnering with TDRA at the Royal Winter Fair, Agricultural Winter Fair. And I was with my team at Trent University just 2 weeks ago. And, a lot of these caregivers who or stakeholders who come to our roadshows, we ask them to, if they would be interested in joining us on our advisory committee. And, like partake in any sort of future activities as well. Just a reminder, our next roadshow is going to be at Baycrest on April the 2nd. We are also going to invite, there are a lot of you who are on the online today, who are caregivers, or you may be care professionals who work very closely with dementia caregivers. So please consider joining our vaccinated caregiver advisors, Ron and Carla, in our next caregiver engagement meetings in April. So those are the dates. And Ron and Carla is going to give, like a project updates and also give details on how to participate in upcoming activities that we have organized for our caregivers within the project. And if you are interested in learning about updates and what our team is up to, we do have a website, and we will start to actually post some blog posts here in the near future. So do drop by. Thank you for listening. And in closing, I just wanted to acknowledge our funding partners, collaborators, and definitely most importantly, our caregivers who are key to our success. And thank you.